Hello and welcome to another port painting video. Today we're going to look at a technique that I've been working on that I'm calling the reverse swipe. Now, the basics of this are that if you do a swipe, you're taking multiple layers of paint, you're kind of pressing them in and dragging them across each other. But as I was looking at different pourings and as I was working with the paint here and there during this week of pour painting, I noticed that once you have a big glob of paint, let's say you just did a flip cup. The paint is sitting here, you pull the cup off and you have this big pool of paint in the middle. As you try and tilt it, the paint doesn't slide out like this. The paint doesn't just go directly out. What the paint does is it starts rolling over the edges of itself, and that's what makes it get muddy, and that's what makes it get stretched out and things like that, because the paint is eating itself. And I thought to myself, what if we had a way that when we paint, we could just kind of stretch the paint over the canvas, because we're stretching it anyways, but what if there was a way to cover it all at once without having to roll the paint over itself so much? And I came up with this little reverse swipe. I have wax paper here, and I would recommend you use wax paper specifically for this, because both the top and the bottom of wax paper are both wax, and they will not stick to the paint or eat it or anything like that. So I'm going to pour a little bit of black paint here, and then I'm going to set my reverse swipe paper on top of it. And now I'm going to let some of this white paint on top, and I'm going to pull this up. I'm going to tilt the paint onto it. As the paint runs off, it drags it like you would a swipe, but you've already covered all the area that you need to cover. So the goal of this, the wax paper with the paint on top, will have enough pressure to drag an initial puddle of paint back towards you, or in whichever direction you're going to paint this, and then the tilting of the wax paper, as you tilt it up, the paint will run off and just kind of be set down onto your painting area. And this is a way to cover a lot at once, as we're going to see with an actual paint demonstration here. I'm going to take this wax paper off the top, because I don't want to ruin our experiment just yet. Get this into focus for you. And then what I got here is our wax paper. And then I'm going to prepare a dirty pour flip cup. These are mixed with my usual Floetrol recipe and a little drop of silicone. And we're going to set up a flip cup. So wax paper goes first, because we're doing this reverse swipe. Then the canvas. Ooh. My ceiling fan is a little in the mix here. Okay, and the reason I'm doing a flip cup like this is because I want to get the look of a flip cup technique, but with the coverage that we're seeing from this reverse swipe. There we go. Whew, look at the colors on that. And now here we go. I tilt and drag this. Now, I probably should have used a little bigger cup for this canvas in retrospect, but look at how the paint just slides off directly onto the canvas. Whatever we're looking at in terms of the pattern on the paint is applied directly to the canvas, and that's it. No more stretching, nothing like that. I should have had a little more paint on the wax paper to do a perfectly successful job, and fortunately, to save what we have left of this, I did save a little extra paint, so we can cover this canvas, have ourselves a nice calming little colorful scene here. And much in the same way that we have just done this reverse swipe where we stretch the paint onto the canvas, you can see the same thing as I just scooped up some of the paint onto this spreader tool here, is that the paint will simply stretch onto the surface it's being applied to if you are pulling it and not rolling it over itself. And we can repeat this. Pulling layer, and you just spread it right back on. So that's another effect you can do, and a metal spreader tool like this will work just fine because the metal is also non-porous, so it won't soak up the paint or negatively affect your painting that way either. Again, we have a little set of paint, a little selection on our spreader, and I'm going to angle this down and just stretch the paint across a certain area. And look at that, the same pattern that we had is now applied onto the canvas. So this is what we're calling the reverse swipe. If you have any suggestions for the name, or maybe something you feel fits a little better, or if there's something you'd like to see me try with this reverse swipe technique, let me know in the comments. I'm interested in doing more with this style. It's a lot of fun, and I think there's a lot of applications that I don't have figured out yet. So please let me know. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've been enjoying the paintings, and as always, this has been Souffle Art. Hope you have a great day.